What if I told you that right now, hurtling through space at 130,000 miles per hour, there's a mysterious object heading straight for our planet? And what if the odds of this happening naturally are so astronomically low that Harvard scientists think it might actually be controlled by aliens? This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. What if you woke up tomorrow and discovered that astronomers had been tracking something massive for months, something they're calling 31 Atlas? At first glance, you might think, okay, another asteroid. But here's where it gets wild. This thing is 7 miles wide. 7 miles. To put that in perspective, that's bigger than Mount Everest. Twice the size of Mount Kilimanjaro. What if I told you this makes it the largest interstellar object we've ever spotted? But size isn't even the strangest part. What if one of Harvard's most respected theoretical physicists looked at this data and said, this doesn't make sense naturally? That's exactly what Professor Avi Loeb did. And when a Harvard professor starts talking about alien spacecraft, you listen. Here's what caught his attention. What if an object was travelling at exactly the right speed, on exactly the right trajectory, timed perfectly to approach Earth when we're on the opposite side of the Sun? What are the odds of that happening by chance? According to Loeb, they're virtually zero. What if this object isn't just randomly wandering through space? What if it's deliberately approaching from behind the Sun, making it incredibly difficult for us to detect until now? That's strategic thinking, that's planning. And what if it's scheduled to arrive in 2027? But wait, what if this isn't the first time Professor Loeb has made claims like this? A few years back, he analysed another mysterious object that passed by Earth. Something with a bizarre metallic appearance that moved in ways natural objects simply don't move. What if there's a pattern here? What if we're not dealing with random space rocks, but with something far more intentional? Now, what if I told you that not everyone's buying this theory? Oxford astronomer Chris Lint called these claims nonsense on stilts. He says any suggestion that it's artificial is an insult to real scientific work. But here's the thing, what if the skeptics are missing something? What if their dismissal is exactly what we'd expect from a scientific community that's not ready to accept what the evidence might be telling us? What if this is just the beginning? What if there are civilizations out there that have been watching us, studying us, maybe even trying to communicate with us in ways we're only now beginning to understand? Think about it. What if you were an advanced alien civilization and you wanted to make contact? Would you just show up randomly? Or would you plan your approach carefully, maybe even send scouts first? What if instead of dismissing these possibilities, we started asking better questions? What if we prepared for the possibility that we're not alone? What if 2027 becomes the year everything changes? And what if the real question isn't whether aliens exist, but whether we're ready to accept that they might be coming to visit? What if I told you that regardless of what 31 Atlas turns out to be, natural phenomenon or something more extraordinary, this moment represents something incredible? We're living in a time when these questions aren't just science fiction anymore. They're real scientific discussions happening at the highest levels. What if the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than we ever imagined? What if we're about to find out? The object is still racing toward us. The scientists are still watching. And we're all about to discover what happens when the impossible becomes possible. What if everything changes in 2027?